CMAX Sports presents high school football tonight from Sunnyside Stadium in southeast Fresno. The host Sunnyside High School Wildcats face the visiting Central High School Grizzlies. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Taylor to call tonight's action, and with me the coach Fred Clark. And Fred, opening night a week ago for these two teams, very contrasting results.
No doubt about it. Sunnyside visited Clovis North. They got off to a 19-0 halftime lead. It looked like they were headed for a blowout signature win against the Broncos. Something happened at halftime. The Broncos came back and shut Sunnyside down the second half, winning the game 20-19. 12 miles away at Collegian Stadium for Central, Bullard came in looking to open the season with a win against Central like they did a year ago. That was Central's only blemish until the championship game against Bakersfield. The Grizzlies came out on fire, rolled to a 37-0 halftime lead, and emptied the bench, ended up winning 44-0. So Sunnyside will have to see how damaged they were about letting what appeared to be a pretty good win slip away. And one of the things about Central after tonight's game, they play Liberty of Bakersfield next week, and then they go to De La Salle to play. So maybe this is an opportunity for the Wildcats if the Grizzlies are caught looking ahead.
Out on the field right now, a special presentation as we've just had a ceremonial coin toss, and it appears, if I've caught it right, that Central High School has elected to receive. Sunnyside High will be kicking off. They will go from our left to right. But a special ceremony out there on the field, paying tribute to Justin Garza, Fred.
And Justin Garza was one of the premier football coaches in the area. I got a chance to meet him when he was an assistant at Central under Wayne Collegian. And when he took the Reedley job, he took a program that was a little bit downtrodden. And 2 years later, he had them in the playoffs with a winning record and established a real core that Reedley could have built on. A few things happened. Reedley went back downhill after he left. He gave Sunnyside probably the two best years in Sunnyside football when it comes to signature wins. And then he went home to coach at Central, where he got his coaching start and built the Grizzlies into a power which Kyle Biggs has continued to build on. Justin Garza was one of the best coaches, an intense football coach, a master educator off the field, and just an outstanding human being. I was proud to know him.
Sadly, lost a 6-year fight with Hodgkin's lymphoma in February. His family here tonight, wonderful dad, wonderful family man, and a fitting tribute here as these two schools that he coached meet here tonight. Officials at midfield. And Fred, who are the guys in the striped shirts for tonight's game?
Oh, the referee is Greg Schoonard. The umpire is Philip Murdoch. Heads linesman is Matt Strickland. Line judge is Guillermo Villanueva. The bat judge, Brian Pinto.
Well, again, Sunnyside coming in looking for their first win of the season following that heartbreaker last week with Clovis North. And, of course, Central High, boy, looked like a juggernaut on week one, and sometimes opening weeks can be a little deceiving. You talk to some of the people around their program, and they'll admit they're a little different away from home than they are at home, but still a very good program. Some terrific talent on that Central team. You hear the cheers as the Sunnyside Wildcats stream out onto the field here at Sunnyside High Stadium. And Fred, you like the young quarterback at Central High School, Trent Tompkins, and he's got a nice, big, talented running back behind him in Javon Bigelow.
Trent Tompkins has got all of the tools right now. He's got a good arm, he reads defenses well, and when he has to tuck the ball down and run, there's few in the valley that do it better than he does. Bigelow is totally explosive. Central can open up the field, they can bang you between the tackles. This is going to be a very tough offense for the Wildcat to defend.
And on the other side, you were really taken by a young linebacker transfer that's in this Central lineup, and you like him a lot.
Yeah, that would be number 10, Trey Walker, the middle linebacker for Central. And I was watching snippets of that game with Bullard. He was everywhere. I mean, great lateral movement, one of the best linebackers I've seen here in the area since Travis Brown was terrorizing people at Clovis West.
And he was a good one. He was a good one. A couple of players that you Bulldog fans watching at home will want to keep an eye on tonight, and that is For Sunnyside, number 2, Sherwin King. He's their captain, and the co-captain with him, wearing number 5, is Deshaun Ruffin. Both of those young men, seniors, two-way players, have made early commitments to play for Jeff Tedford's rebuilding Fresno State Bulldogs. As the ball is up on the tee, and Fred Clark, we're ready to kick off CMAC Sports 2017 high school football coverage.
And 102 degrees. It's a beautiful night for football.
A short kick fielded at the 32-yard line. Oh, he's got a seam, but is taken down at the 35. And that is where we will begin as Jacob Torres, the senior, 5'9", 160, puts a shoulder into the thigh and brings the ball carrier down.
Well, Dad, we saw that little pooch kick to open the game. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit further down the road.
Trent Tompkins, the quarterback, out of the pistol. A little bit of play action and flushed from the pocket. And he's going to lose probably 3 or 4 yards, Fred.
Sunnyside couldn't have had a better play to start the game. Tompkins looked for a little bit of a seam, couldn't find it, and Sunnyside did a great job of closing the gaps. Okay, 1 play in, all right.
Again, Tompkins from the pistol, and it looks like they were successful in drawing the Wildcats offside.
This is something that plagued the Wildcats last week against Clovis North, were penalties like this. Now, when you have a 2nd and 13, maybe that's one of the best times if you can jump off sides to do it. But they've really got to work on that discipline.
Second down and 7 for the Grizzlies. Give goes to Bigelow, finds a hole, bulls his way over a couple of tacklers down to the 41.5-yard line. And I know, Fred, you're going to tell me there is no such thing as a half-yard line.
I was going to wait till we got off the air for that one.
Did that to me plenty of times last year. Shows you that I remember. 3rd down, 7. Loading up 8 in the box. Wildcats giving that look that they're going to be coming, and they drop back into pass coverage. Tompkins. Oh, most a nice diving grab, but just beyond the grasp of Jacob Torres. Now that's going to bring out the punting unit for Central, and you're going to see Sunnyside dropping back into punt coverage.
And Tompkins put that almost 50 yards in the air. Beautiful pass, just led him a little bit too much, and he didn't even have everything on the ball that he's capable of having. DeAndre
McDowell, the deep man for the Wildcats, backing up now to about the, no, I'm not going to say it, Fred. He's at about the 25. And the snap goes awry. Grizzlies managed to get the punt away and get a pretty good roll down to the 19-yard line. So the Wildcats had an opportunity, couldn't take advantage. Central able to recover and get off the punt. And Sunnyside now will take over.
Sunnyside's return team had no idea that the ball was snapped 5 yards over the punter's head. Only two of the men saw it. Everybody else peeled back to block, and it turned out being a great punt.
Sure did. The Wildcats now with the ball 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line. This is a young offense. A lot of attrition following last season. Pass out to the near side. Sevo Sneed. He is ridden out of bounds after a pickup of about 2-3 yards.
We have to keep an eye on just the total aggression of the Central defense. They've got active linebackers, athletic, skilled defensive backs. This looks like it's going to be a real tough team to score on.
Well, the man in the middle, number 10, Trey Walker, a certain favorite of the coach, and loved what he saw out of him last week as we keep an eye on him, and his pursuit looks pretty good there as he's right in the mix as the ball carrier is stuffed at the 24-yard line.
I think we'll see as the night wears on, it's going to appear that Central has 3 guys with a number 10 on.
which can always be an announcer's nightmare unless they have a guy like you to clue them into what's really happening on the field, Fred.
Thank you, Dan.
Donovan Kong behind center in the pistol formation. Quite a story to this young man as a receiver got a little anxious out on the far side. Took off before the snap count was concluded. That brings out all the yellow hankies and is going to get the ball marked back. And
just drives coaches up the wall. You have a 3rd and 4, very manageable, and now you have 3rd and long again.
Brings up 3rd and 9, back at the 20-yard line. Donovan Kong, one of the captains, quarterbacking this team, a volleyball player a couple of years ago. He airs it out, a nice spiral down the center of the field, but no one can get to it. And we've got a penalty flag in the backfield.
It's in a position where you usually have holding, but no, we're going to have a roughing the passer.
Indeed it is. Big break for the Wildcats. Big mistake for the Grizzlies.
I'd like to see that one again. I did see a little bit of push. I don't think I would have called that.
So new life for the Sunnyside drive as the ball is paced out to the 35-yard line, and they will get a 1st and 10 opportunity there. Gong on the out. De La Cruz. Let's see where the spot is, and yes, he has a 1st down.
That penalty that kept the Sunnyside drive along, you see a little bit more bounce in the sidelines on that.
And a lot of bounce over on the central sideline from the coaching staff that are none too happy with the player doing that. Up the A gap and pulled down just shy of midfield. Pickup of about 4+ yards. I'm not going to say 1/2. But good pickup there, almost 5 yards on the play.
Well, you can say 4.5 yards because that's accurate, but there's no half-yard lines.
Right.
So, okay.
Hung up.
That Sunnyside jumped offside over here. One of the slot receiver took off a little too soon and didn't get back in time. Yeah, when you mentioned the Central coaches jumping up and down, Coach Kyle Biggs is not what you would call a wallflower.
No.
Very intense.
Absolutely. That goes all the way back to his playing days at Clovis High School.
Yes, it does.
Hawkins with a spin out of the backfield, and that's a very talented young man. His brother was a two-way standout on this Sunnyside High team a year ago.
And his brother is going to be playing at Fresno City College, and he has those intangibles that I think he's going to get picked up by a 4-year school after a couple of years at City.
I certainly was impressed by him last season. 2nd down, 16. Oh, boy, that was ever so close to being a pick 6 for Central High School.
Oh. And that was Anthony Dixon. He just started out a little bit too late and tried to tap it to himself. Couldn't quite do it.
On the verge of being a dynamic play. There's our score. No score. 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Actually, we're at 7:55 right now in the first quarter of play here at Sunnyside Stadium as the Wildcats back in punt formation. Decides to kick it Aussie rules style. Fielded at about the 18-yard line, and that is not going to be advanced much farther than that by Jeremiah Hunter, the sophomore wide receiver. And that's a young man who had a terrific opener last week for the Grizzlies in their big 44-0 win over Bullard High School.
Dan, he slips out of that tackle, and he had plenty of yardage in front of him. Very good coverage for Sunnyside.
Indeed. So 1st and 10. Ball on the 21-yard line. And once again, We've got penalty flags a-flying.
Yeah, the Wildcats jumped offside again. And this has to drive the coaching staff wild, Dan. Last week this happened over and over again. Cats worked at that ad nauseum during practice. They've had 3 of them in the first 5 minutes of play.
Terrific grab. Streaking down the far hash mark, and that's Avery Boyd, the senior wide receiver, who hauls it in and is hauled down at about the 44-yard line. Spotted at the 45. Terrific gain and terrific play. Trent Tompkins down to Avery Boyd. 3 wide receivers to the near side. Tompkins continues to operate out of the pistol. Give to Bigelow, but that's something it looks as though Sunnyside High has come in devoted to stopping. They want to stop that run game, and it appears try and force Tompkins into throwing the football. Yeah,
they crowded about 7 in the box on that, Dan. I don't know if forcing Tompkins to throw the football is that good of an idea.
Well, not after he threw 4 touchdown passes last week and ran for a 5th himself. You're absolutely right. And down Tompkins goes. He's going to take about a 7-yard loss on that one.
That was Cameron Irvin that came in and made that tackle. A short tackle on that. And Sunnyside playing a little bit better on the line than I thought.
Trent Tompkins, just a junior, first season as quarterback. 3rd down, 17. Up top he goes. As a receiver, can he get under it? Incomplete, but it looks as though we're going to have a pass interference call. The penalty flag flies down at about the 15-yard line. The official walking back to give his ruling and get the call.
Well, Central's walking backwards too. Well, that is on the Wildcats. I don't know if this is going to be first down yardage or not, though, Dan.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like it'll be about a yard, 2 yards shy. Ball's going to be marked at the 37-yard line. And they're going to have to get to the 35 for a first down. No, they do, at least on the board. They have it listed 1st and 10. I don't know if that's accurate or not. The down marker on the sideline has 3rd down. Tompkins, he's got a rush, and he has to pull it in and eat it and take the sack. Well, there's Sherwin King, the Fresno State commit. And with him was Devon Jones, a junior, as the two came streaking in there, Fred, to make that stop.
That play why so many colleges are high on him.
Andrew Alvarez is deep to punt, had a little bit of a mishap, almost a disaster the last time. Ball snapped over his head, but he was able to get a successful punt off because Sunnyside only rushed 1 man.
Nice bounce in favor of the Wildcats.
So the ball will be spotted at the 31, where Sunnyside will take over for their 3rd drive of the night. No score here at Sunnyside Stadium in Southeast Fresno, where Central High School has just punted the ball away to Sunnyside High, the hosts. 5 minutes and 38 seconds to play in the first quarter. A hot day today. It was 106 or so, and there were heat concerns at the kickoff time of the junior varsity game. It was 105, and they decided not to play the junior varsity game. A number of games up and down the central San Joaquin Valley postponed because of the heat and air quality issues. This one at kickoff, it had dropped below 100 right as we got to kickoff. The air quality was in the orange category, good enough to go. So Sunnyside High on 2nd down from the 20-yard line.
Boy, the defenses have really dominated this game so far, Dan. Sunnyside hasn't really been able to do much of anything on the ground.
Fred, let's kind of zero in here a little bit because you were the one who was touting him coming into this game, so I've got to give you props. Not just the defense, but in particular Trey Walker, the middle linebacker, number 10 for the Central High Grizzlies. Very impressive in the middle of that play, stopping it once again.
All over the place.
3rd and 15. Kong going to throw the football. Has a man, but has 3 defenders, and it's picked off. And who's done it, Fred?
What a surprise.
Trey Walker trying to bull his way over for the touchdown. Did he get over? His teammates have thrown up their arms, but no official has yet. Looks like it's going to get spotted down around the, oh no. There goes the call. The line judge throws up his arms. Trey Walker has done it. Picked off that pass and taken it all the way back for a Central High School touchdown, our first score of the night.
And Trey Walker, as we were talking about before, Dan, he has that unbelievable ball sense. He knew when to back off, something that he read. Instead of going up, went back in coverage, kept his eye on the ball, and there he is.
Terrific talent, shifts it, gets down and tries to make that reach and dive, and just managed to cross the plane. So Central on the board first with a 6-0 lead here with 4 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the first quarter. Andrew Alvarez on to convert the PAT and does so successfully. So Central on top 7-0. And Central High School has scored 51 points thus far on the season in their 2 games without giving up a single point.
Well, Dan, what I'd like to see the rest of the game is Central's defense just to stay on the field. And I want to see Walker play as absolute much as I can.
He's a terrific talent. He's a fun player to watch, and as you watch this at home and have the chance to get out and catch some high school football this season, I would say Central High School is a place to go. You've got some good talent there. Javon Bigelow's already been offered by UNLV. A number of schools are keeping an eye on him. He's got D1 size, 6'2", 195. And Trey Walker, 6'2", 225, the senior middle linebacker, someone that no doubt the D1 schools are keeping an eye on and watching his progress.
Well, I know that Cal Poly and Sac State, they were the first ones in with Walker, but the more people see of him, he's going to have recruiters all over him midway through the season.
Sunnyside High now trying to retaliate if they can. Another short pooch kick. Fielded by the up man. That's Carl Hawkins once again. And Fred, pooch kick's a favorite of yours?
No.
Why did I not know that was coming?
Absolutely not. On the pooch kick, at minimum, the team's going to get the ball on the 30-yard line. And I know why teams do it. They don't want to get anybody badly hurt, and most of all, they don't want to give up a return for a touchdown. But when you give a team the ball anywhere between the 30 and 40-yard lines, you're giving them good field position.
You are absolutely right.
And I don't understand it.
Donovan Kong, the quarterback, out of the pistol. Going up top. And that's Marquez Williams with the grab.
And something, Dan, that's new this year, high schools, they can onside kick, but they can't onside kick where it bounces once and goes up in the air. That's a 5-yard penalty this year. Now, if they want onside kick, they can still squib it. And I don't know why we don't have more squib kicks anyway. That, to me, that's a much tougher one to run than a pooch is.
Sunnyside attempting to bring it to the near side, and that play is stopped. For a loss of about 4. Wildcats right back up at the line of scrimmage. 3 receivers to the near side. Airs it out, and it's dropped.
I don't think he was going to be able to fall forward for a first down nonetheless, but it has to be real frustrating because he would have had at least an opportunity to try.
Why do I get the sense, though, that Deshaun Ruffin is not going to do that again? Those are the types of things that stick with young players that have a lot of confidence and pride, and those things happen, and they're able to really flick through the play and know exactly what they did wrong very swiftly and not make that mistake again.
Yep.
Jeremiah Hunter, the sophomore, deep for this punt, as Johnny De La Cruz, as we mentioned before, likes to kick it Aussie rules style, kind of on a rollout, and he gets a roll all the way down inside the 20-yard line as the ball drops dead at the 19, which is where the Central High School Grizzlies will take over possession with 3:05 to go here in the first quarter. And our scores, Central High 7, Sunnyside High School nothing.
One thing about both these teams, Dan, as soon as we have an exchange, a kickoff or a punt, the offenses, they're both ready to go. Both these teams want to hurry the game up.
They do play at a high pace, a very quick pace. Gibbs goes to Bigelow, off the left tackle, and off he goes, picking up about 13 yards before he comes down.
We have a Wildcat down on the field.
Javon Bigelow looking at using that size, that speed, and that talent to pick up a first down as the
I can't get a glimpse of the number that we have. Spence, I was trying to check that again and see what happened on the replay. We didn't get one there.
Our score 7-0 Central High with 2:53 to play here in the first quarter. As we have a little break of the action while the team trainers for Sunnyside High tend to an injured player. And Fred, one of the, I think the fun things about high school football is, not just the camaraderie, the great friendships, but what we see on the Central High School sideline. Kyle Biggs gets a head coaching job, and he was mentored and tutored for many, many years, both as a young man and as a football talent by his father, a long time, an outstanding assistant football coach. And who's one of the first guys that Kyle puts on his Central High School staff? But Dad.
Yeah, Bill Biggs, he was a long-time assistant. He was at Clovis West, he was at Clovis. Probably coached over 40 years of, I think, the 69 years he's been alive. And when Kyle got his first head coaching job at Fowler, he, drug the old man out there with him, and they had a couple of good years down in Fowler, and they brought that success up to Central with him.
That's great. That is terrific.
Would be fun to have your old man on the staff.
Absolutely. Angel Guzman, number 70, the injured player who has limped off and will be tended to on the sideline. First and 10, ball on the 33-yard line for the Grizzlies. Asked to pull it down, wanted to get the quick pass out, and probably falls a yard short of getting back to the line of scrimmage.
That was probably the best 1-yard loss you're going to see tonight, Dan.
That took some quick thinking.
Yeah, he was going to get hit for about an 8-yard loss, and he just kept wiggling his way forward.
Second out and 10. Tompkins airs it out, and he has got his man. That's Jacob Torres down the middle of the field, brought down at the 18-yard line. Terrific grab by Jacob Torres, the 5'9" senior.
Jacob Torres has got hands. In the playoff game against Edison last season, they could not stop him early in the game.
He's an impressive player, and that is a nice connection there with Trent Tompkins, putting it on the money to him. They can try to stuff Bigelow and force Central to pass, but that didn't work out too well last week. Oh, speaking of Bigelow, he has got a wide open lane into the end zone, and Javon Bigelow scores the second touchdown of the night for the Central High School Grizzlies, who now lead 13-0.
Yeah, Dan, if we see that again, nobody touched Bigelow. There was no, in flag football, he's still going in for a touchdown.
Absolutely right.
And I mean,
runs it in with ease.
Yeah, and not only nobody came close to touching him. I don't think they could have spit on him.
Andrew Alvarez to attempt the extra point. And it's good, extending Central's lead to 14-0 with 2 minutes remaining here in the first quarter of play at Sunnyside Stadium, as the host Sunnyside Grizzlies put into the mode of catch-up. Something that they did not have to do last week, and an unfamiliar role for this team.
Well, last year when these two teams played on the second game of the season, Central had lost their first game to Bullard, and they came into that second game looking for blood, and they won that 56-15. And I know Sunnyside was embarrassed by that. They were hoping having a home crowd here and maybe having really a chip on their shoulder after the way they lost last week. I think they were hoping for a little bit better result, and it is imperative that the Wildcats get some points on the board this possession, or at the very least get a couple of first downs and then get Central's offense off the field.
Well, to their credit, one of the things they look at in non-league play is trying to face tough opposition to prepare them well for conference play, and that's worked out well for them the last couple of seasons.
Well, the total weakness in the NYL also has something to do with that.
Short kick, but gets a bounce and gets batted out of bounds by Carl Hawkins. And the spot looks like it's going to be at about the 13-yard line.
And I have to applaud what Coach Woods does at Sunnyside. Play some strong teams because the NYL is so weak. They think they probably averaged 40-point margin of victory in league last year. And then in the first playoff game, they go down and they beat Tulare by 10 points. And then, well, Sanger manhandled them in the quarterfinals. But, you know, if you had a cupcake schedule, there's no way you're going to be prepared for the playoffs.
And there are coaches who will operate with that philosophy. Let's play as tough a non-league schedule as we can, and it's going to prepare us for the postseason. They have a pretty good ability to study what their conference foes are going to be like, and if they go strong in the non-conference season, it pays off when you get down to the end. As that pass completed out to Brayon Heights.
Well, Central's a prime example. They played a Bullard team that's perennially good, and next week they play Liberty, and then they go to De La Salle, and then they have all those tough games in the Tri-River.
And that's the kind of schedule that gets you to Carson in December.
Yeah. Wow.
If you've got the talent and you can get through that type of a schedule, good chance you're going to be at the StubHub Center in December in the state finals. 1:09 to go here. 14-0 Central High School on top of Sunnyside. Staring at a 3rd and 7 with the ball on the 15-yard line for the Wildcats. Flushed from the pocket. This is Kong on the run. And he's going to be well short of first down yardage. Brought down at about the 19.
You know, with all the talk and accolades I've been throwing on Walker, Brewer, another linebacker that's making things happen. And when you have one guy that is so dominant as a middle linebacker, you make everybody around you look a heck of a lot better too.
Indeed, their pursuit was good. They didn't go with the receiver who went in motion. They weren't fooled by that, and they stuck with their assignments and were able to stuff the play successfully. 4th down and 3.
That's doing your homework.
Absolutely. And that wraps up the first quarter of play here from Sunnyside High School Stadium, where the Sunnyside Wildcats trail the Central High Grizzlies 14-0. You're watching high school football on CMAC Sports.
Yeah, Dan, what we're seeing right now too. You can tell by their body language here on the sidelines. You know, they're just not looking good at all right now. And one more touchdown, and I think we're going to have just a terrible route on our hands.
Our score 14-0 here at Sunnyside Stadium. As we switch ends to begin the second quarter of play. Thus far, terrific defensive play by the senior middle linebacker Trey Walker. He has been all over the field and a real thorn in the side of the the Sunnyside Wildcats. Walker with an impressive interception, took it all the way back, a pick six for the first score of the night. And then the talented Central High School running back Javon Bigelow went totally untouched. 20 yards, 20 plus yards for the second score of the night. And that's where we stand, 14-0. Central High School sitting on top. Sunnyside High to punt. And that is Johnny De La Cruz deep. And he is not doing an Aussie rules punt here. He's trying to run for it. And did he get close enough?
No, he's a good 2 yards short, Dan. He needed to get to the 23. He's been marked inside the 21, so.
And some of the Central High Grizzlies celebrate as they leave the field. Big play by their defensive unit there to thwart the attempt by Sunnyside, and tremendous field position now for the Central High School Grizzlies as they're at Sunnyside High's 21-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a planned fake or not, but that had disaster written all over it from the get-go. Yeah, Central moved a little bit there. One of the few errors Central's had in about the last 8 minutes of game time.
No, you're right. They both had a lot of early penalties, and Central has been able to tone things down a little bit.
Hey, whoever that was didn't get set quick enough. Gotta get set. Gotta have
them as well. Central's just had the two big plays to put them on the board at 14-0. Just 10 seconds into this second quarter of play from Sunnyside Stadium on a very warm night here in Fresno. And once again, Sunnyside High has jumped offside, giving Central High another 5 yards.
Well, goes back to 1st and 10 again.
Tompkins from the pistol, under pressure, throws behind his receiver, but he manages a terrific grab. And that's David Brown, the young sophomore, who gets hauled down inside the 15-yard line. Ball's going to be spotted at the 11. Fred, he had to make a terrific catch here, reaching back behind him.
Well, we'll see this again. Dang. That was nice. It was a nice catch.
Tompkins with the fade in the corner of the end zone. That's Avery Boyd. Touchdown, Central High School.
And Boyd bought that in. You could tell when the ball was coming down. He was just totally focused on that. Central just looks like they are rolling again tonight.
Well, the fake punt attempt backfires on Sunnyside, and it gives Central High School just perfect field position. And 3 plays later, not even 30 seconds into the second quarter, they're in the end zone for their third score of the night. And this is Andrew Alvarez trying for his third PAT. Kick is good. And the Grizzlies sit on top 21-0.
Yeah, Sunnyside got a great, well, yeah, that's why they got the great jump. They were offside on the play. I think we're going to have this one declined. Unusual formation on Central's extra point, but they must have done enough work on that with their confidence. You usually don't see two blockers back behind like that, but I understand that one. So yeah, that was offside. No, personal foul. Okay, roughing the kicker. So
Coach Woods expressing some concerns, as you see there, to the officials, not happy about. And I think they had some concerns on that last touchdown catch. I think they were not sure whether they were talking about a push-off or they were questioning where the feet were on the Central High receiver, but he was very unhappy with the call and has continued to let the official know about it.
Well, on that, to me, looked like he beat his man. Ball was thrown perfectly. He bought it in, and I thought both feet were down. And now the misery index continues after the personal foul. They kick off from the 45-yard line, and I think they're probably going to just go for a touchback on this. Now, I'd really be surprised if they pooch kicked on this.
To the goal line, Central sends it into the end zone, and Sunnyside is going to just take it back out at the 20-yard line. Deshaun Ruffin there on the receiving end of that is Sunnyside will have it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
And as we said before, Dan, when Sunnyside had the ball the last time, it was imperative that they make something happen, and they went 3 and out. So at 21-0 now, just get a couple of first downs, slow the bleeding down a little bit.
More penalty flags tossed on the field here at Sunnyside Stadium. Wildcats are going to be marched back.
And one of the Edison coaches told me in their defeat by the Bakersfield Drillers last week, Edison was averaging a penalty every 2 plays.
Well, that doesn't make film study a very enjoyable affair.
Not for anyone.
No.
And the coaching staff that looks at it late that night or early the next morning, they're already irritated by the defeat. You're fatigued because you haven't slept, and then you have to watch this, and then you're not going to sleep again.
And the players aren't sleeping either because they know what's going to be said when they march into that room to look at the game films.
Yes.
A quick hitter steered toward Breon Heights. Senior, one of the captains in this one tonight. Ball now out at the 19-yard line. Brings down 2nd and 11 for the Wildcats. Playing with a little bit of that read action, but he is brought down to the backfield. You can tell that was Marcus Washington getting through to make the sack for the Grizzlies.
And the Sunnyside offensive line, dissolved like Alka-Seltzer on that play. I mean, there was, little resistance whatsoever.
Here we go, another look at it.
Again. Yeah.
He just shirked his man Carl Hawkins with ease, went right around him and was able to complete the sack. All right, looking with the near side. Overthrows his man, incomplete. And he had a big target that was big Jamari Jenkins, just a sophomore.
Well, he needed probably another 2 or 3 feet on him to be able to
might
pull
be
that
6'5", 6'6", but even that was not enough to be able to pull that one in.
So 4th down and 18 yards to go.
And Johnny De La Cruz will take the snap in his end zone. 10:21 remaining till halftime. 21-0 Central High on top. A very high snap. De La Cruz able to bring it down and gets a terrific punt off that is fielded at the 45-yard line. And it is handed off. Jeremiah Hunter gives it to Silas Proby, who streaks his way up the near sideline and is brought down at the 40-yard line. Picks up an extra 17 yards on that. Very heads-up play. Jeremiah Hunter, the young sophomore, wrapped up right away as soon as he caught that punt, as we'll take another look at it here. But he was wrapped up as soon as that ball hit his hands and very alertly gave it to his teammate, Silas Proby, who streaked up the sidelines and picked up 17 yards.
That was just both players being totally aware.
Absolutely.
Early in the season, don't see this very often.
Didn't turn nothing into something, turned nothing into a lot. Give goes to Bigelow, off the left tackle, around the left end, brought down and knocked down. And you can see a teammate there Sherwin King trying to gesture to his teammate Devon Jones. You got to be careful there because he looked like he was a step or two out of bounds, and that was something that an official could have easily called. In the backfield, we have an injured Central High Grizzly, and the staff there is out to tend to him.
And we saw it looked like the official had his hand on the flag, just didn't throw it. Yeah, that probably wasn't real wise. The Wildcats now, you have some of the players hands on hips, and they're trying to do a lot of arm tackling. As Bigelow didn't meet any serious resistance, so he's going out of bounds.
Jordan Tavita, the injured player, and he's going to limp off with the trainers back to the Central High sideline. Yes, just like the touchdown run, Bigelow very impressive coming around the near side. First down, Grizzlies, ball on the 30-yard line of Sunnyside High. 21-0 Central sitting on top here, 10:03 to play in the first half. The Grizzlies on the march for yet another score. Trent Tompkins fakes. No, he does give, and this is not Bigelow. This is DeAndre Brewer around the far side, down inside the 20-yard line, brought down at about the 19.
Just a little bit of a delay. You know, Brewer just waited for his blocking to set up. Got good yardage, another first down.
Timeout taken by Sunnyside High School. 9:53 to play in the first half. Sunnyside trailing 21-0.
Yeah, Dan, the first 6 drives, or first 6 possessions, 3 for each team, netted 0 points whatsoever. And look, they may have a defensive battle going on here, and that ended quickly.
Very quickly. From all we had heard about both teams, from all of the impressive statistics and background on many of these players, you expected there to be some points scored, but the way this game went back and forth in the first quarter, you had to wonder. And here's another look at that punt, and a terrific heads-up play made by Jeremiah Hunter. Very precocious young sophomore, as the ball is given to his teammate Silas Proby, and up the sideline he goes for a pickup of about 17 yards. Tremendous effort there. Central High hoping to turn that heads-up play into 7 more points. Ball's on the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 Grizzlies.
Oh, wow.
Through the air, both look like they have come down with it. It is signaled a touchdown as Jeremiah Hunter hauls that ball in. A 20-yard strike. Trent Tompkins to Jeremiah Hunter.
And Hunter, just a sophomore there too, Dan.
So he gets to enjoy the fruits of his effort as he had the heads-up savvy to lateral that punt to a teammate who picked up 17 yards. And then at the conclusion of that drive, Jeremiah Hunter hauls in the scoring strike from Trent Tompkins. The Central High School Grizzlies with their 4th score of the night. And the extra point is poked through. And we have a 28-0 lead for the Grizzlies. Last week they scored 44 and were not scored upon. This week, 9:46 to go until halftime. They have scored 28 and have yet to be scored upon.
And I don't think the situation is going to improve too much until we get to running clock or bench emptying time.
And fill our viewers in on that, Fred. What is the CIF rule regarding running clock?
Well, the running clock used to be in effect at 35 points at halftime, and I've been informed it's now 40 points at halftime.
Okay. And we did run into a couple of those games on our telecast last season.
And we're going to be running into a couple of them this year too, I think.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. It's not something that we hope for, but it's something that I think is definitely going to happen. Not think, it's going to happen.
Andrew Alvarez to kick off once again for the 4th time tonight. 28-0 Central on top. Another of his little pooch chips fielded down at the 20-yard line, bobbled by the Sunnyside High returner, Austin Bebo, the junior, who brings it out to the 7-yard line. Looks like the place where it will be spotted. Well, Fred, you have to say there's a lot of precision to what we're seeing offensively with Central High. The line doing a tremendous job of getting Trent Tompkins the time to look for his receivers, go through his read progressions. Receivers doing a tremendous job of getting the upper hand in their positioning with the defensive backs. And, of course, we've seen some terrific runs both by Javon Bigelow and then later by Silas Proby. And both by the air and on the ground, Central High School is proving to be a big challenge for the Wildcats.
And they just look like they're a well-oiled machine at this point. Usually you don't see teams playing with this much smoothness this early in the season. And Central has such a good mix of senior veterans and underclassmen. Lots of playmakers. It's unbelievable to me how Tompkins is a junior, but it was unbelievable last year when he was a sophomore. He took him to the Valley Championship game.
The loud pass looks as though it's going to be enough for the first down. Impressive toss there by Donovan Kong, and he has enough for the first down.
I'm glad to see the chains moving here. Just giving Sunnyside a brief respite.
Yeah, give them a little bit of confidence. They can pick up a couple more plays like that, who knows. But that's what they're looking for in a game like this. Positives that they can carry through into the league season. Heartbreak for them last week as they had a 19-0 lead and let it slip from their grasp. And just as the snap is tossed, we've got more penalty flags on the field.
Well, wide receiver at the top of the screen up there, he jumped a little bit too soon.
Looked as though Marquez Williams did indeed get a little over anxious on that one.
I think next week Sunnyside plays Mount Whitney, which is a extremely winnable game, and then they play San Joaquin Memorial shortly before starting league. More on that one in a minute.
1st and 15 from the 34. Kang flushed from the pocket. Picks up a nice block from Hawkins, but he is flung to the turf by who?
Trey Walker again.
There we go. Trey Walker. Hot pursuit of that one from his middle linebacker spot. As we'll see if we can show you the replay and you can get an idea of what an outstanding pursuer he is. As you see, he fights off his block, comes around the play.
There was no chance there.
That is a talented young athlete. Incomplete down the near sideline, intended for Marquez Williams.
Well, quarterback had to release that as soon as he could. He was just about to get drilled.
That's going to bring up 3rd down and 16 from the 33-yard line for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Dan, last year you and I were at that Sunnyside Memorial game, and that was Sunnyside's biggest win. You and I left when they were down, I think at 35-13 with 10 minutes left. Memorial had the ball. We got back, caught the TV. They came back and won the game. Oh, my God.
In the backfield, you know who.
Yeah.
Trey Walker.
Oh.
Wrecks that play before it ever gets started.
He knew the play right there. And that was just a decleater. He got there right after the ball was secured. Fortunate that was not a fumble for the Wildcats.
Yes, yes. 4th and 18 as De La Cruz back to punt once again. Another frustrating 4 plays for the Sunnyside High School Wildcats. Fair catch called for. Ball is dropped, but Jeremiah Hunter manages to gather it back in before Sunnyside can pounce on it. Opportunity missed for the Wildcats, who turn it over on downs as the Central High School Grizzlies will take over possession at their own 34-yard line. 28-0 our score, 6 minutes and 58 seconds ticking down until the halftime intermission here at Sunnyside Stadium.
And when you're a coach on the losing side of this, it just takes forever to get through these halves.
By the air once again and incomplete, but we've got a penalty flag flying, and it usually means pass interference.
No doubt on that one. The defender didn't even turn around, Dan.
That's Keandre McDowell, who's going to be flagged and called for the interference.
Yeah, maybe we'll see this one again. Didn't look like there's any effort at all on the ball to get to the ball.
Fred, does there come a point in a game where you watch a defender's technique, and as a coach you're able to say, this guy's really a prime candidate to get flagged for a PI, let's go at him?
I think so. At this point, I think you could, I'm not pointing any fingers.
No, and that's not the intent here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of thinking for our viewers at home who might see something like that and see that kind of pass coverage and wonder if you get into a tight game down the road, is that something that comes into play? Bigelow once again off to the races. Nobody's going to touch him, and he is going to go 51 yards for his second score of the night and the 5th touchdown here in the first half of play at Sunnyside Stadium by the Central High School Wildcat. Central High School Grizzlies.
And you might point out 51 untouched yards. Let's see if anybody laid a hand on him again. No.
Very impressive run. Clearly at or over 100 yards thus far in the first half for Javon Bigelow, the senior running back, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's got D1s all over, and UNLV was the first to extend an offer, and you have to believe others have followed suit since. The extra point is good. And with 6 minutes and 42 seconds until the halftime break, Central High School 35, Sunnyside High School yet to score.
Dan, when you ask about players' tendencies to just a casual fan watching at home, I don't think they really understand the homework and the time that these assistant coaches put in, because they will go down and, you'll watch a film of the game, but then they'll break down and sometimes look at the same play a dozen times. They're looking for tendencies, how linemen hold their hands, how they may hold their feet, that tips off a play. And if you watch this enough, players give away the play, and other coaches, after studying, they can pick up on that.
And it's especially susceptible at the high school level, where these players are so young in their football playing days. And let's say a pass plays the call in the huddle, and that receiver might just come out with a little bit more enthusiasm, a little more bounce in his step than normal, and a sharp assistant coach will have schooled his defenders to look for something like that, and that's going to tip them off that the play is going to that receiver.
Oh, big time. You hit the nail on the head, and it happens all the time. And every coaching staff, if they're on the ball, and most of them are, they're looking for things like this all the time. This goes back a long time ago when during my brief unsuccessful coaching career, we were able to pick up on stuff like this a lot, where you knew what the other team was going to do.
Well, and you'll see a running back come out of a huddle or a receiver come out of the huddle who's not happy that his number was not called in the huddle.
Yep.
And he's going to mope to the line of scrimmage, and now a savvy assistant coach can coach up his defensive player to know, don't worry about him. He's not going to be involved in this play. Gang to the air, overthrows his target. Incomplete.
And if he wouldn't have overthrown his target, it was going to be picked off.
That's very true. Really put a little extra on that throw, trying to get some zip on it before the pass rush got to him. He had a blitz coming from the far side and overthrew his receiver. And, of course, Tyrell Grayson was all over that receiver. Our score 35-0 here from Sunnyside Stadium. 6 minutes, 27 seconds to play in the first half as the Central High School Grizzlies gather around their coaching staff. And on the near side, Sunnyside High does the same, getting some words of encouragement before heading back out onto the field.
You said 6:27. I was hoping the clock was broken, Dan, because I thought there were like You know, 6:50 left 5 minutes ago. I would imagine that Coach Wood and his staff feel about the same way right now.
But every one of these preseason games, every school has a different philosophy. As we mentioned before, some it's to try and get to Carson in the state playoffs, and for others, it's a learning situation to prepare them down the road for league play. And that is traditionally how Sunnyside High has used their non-league games. As we take another look at that one, and you're going to be seeing, no doubt, Sunnyside go to the air a lot from this point on. And Breon Heights takes the shot over the middle of the field from Jacob Torres, one of those that Torres sends a message, come over here, you better be thinking about it, and not thinking about the ball.
Yeah.
Donovan Kong. Oh. And Devon Jones managed to hang with that football. Or Breon Heights, I should say, did manage to hang on to that football. That was a tough one. Looked like that was going to get separated. We'll take another look at that, but looked like it came out and was gathered back in. Nope,
Oh.
it did fall to the ground. So 4th and 10, and once again, we're in a punting situation for Sunnyside High School. Johnny De La Cruz, who likes to punt on the rollout, Aussie rules style. Starting to see more and more of that in American football, both at the high school and the college level.
What's your opinion on that, Dan? Do you like that?
It's a little something different. The Australian punters who've come over have executed it very effectively. I think it's just a matter of choice. If you can evade the rush and it gives you a little more time. Fair catch called for by Jeremiah Hunter. Last time he did that, he lost the grip on the football and was able to get back on top of it. This time looked a little shaky under that football, but Central High School has it at just shy of the 40-yard line.
And this is the game for that to happen.
True.
I like the rollout punt, and I enjoyed that. And years ago, many years ago, I used to have this discussion with my grandfather about place kicking, and I was a real proponent of the soccer style kicking, and he was old school, where they had the old straight on like Lou Groza and Tommy Davis and those guys, and he said, you're going to have soccer players shanking a lot more kicks. I said, no. When you kick with your toe, you only have a few inches to control the ball. The soccer style kicker, you get that whole foot to control the ball, and you have a lot more power behind it.
Right.
And he never did give up on that one with me. We argued about that almost to the funeral.
Well, you know, I like some of the daring of fake punts, which we don't see that much of anymore. I think the game's become somewhat conservative in terms of special teams play. And I like, what I like about the Aussie rules punt is it gives you that option. Is he just merely going to punt it on the rollout, or is he going to tuck it up and run? And I like that idea of trying to keep the defense honest.
Me too. I love that. Well, I love onside kicks. I love fake punts. I love this stuff.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Fred. 2nd down and 8 from the 28-yard line for the Grizzlies. Tompkins is going to go to the air once again, down the middle and just beyond the reach of his receiver, Jacob Torres. That will bring up 3rd down and 8.
Just a small thing that, like stopping a 3rd down play, would be very beneficial to Sunnyside's defensive psyche right now.
Absolutely. 5 minutes, 30 seconds until the halftime intermission. 35-0 Central High School on top of Sunnyside, and going for more pass flung well beyond the reach of the wide receiver. That David Brown, the young sophomore, getting some action here. And something we have not seen in a while, and that's Central High School sending on the punting team, Fred.
After the first, 3 possessions of the first quarter, they've all been touchdowns.
The Grizzlies to punt. Wildcats hoping that they can get a nice return and get some good field possession. And they just may. Up the near sideline. Inside. Breon Heights, the senior, brings it up the near sideline, looking at the spot, but also happened to see a penalty flag down at about the 45-yard line. Officials talking about it at the 40. As you see, watch as Heights picks it up off the bounce. He had 4 defenders right there closing in on him, and he manages to evade them and sneak up the near sideline. Goes out at about, it looks like the 36, 37-yard line.
One of the Sunnyside blockers did something that you should never do. He was holding something fierce, and when he figured he was holding something fierce, he threw his hands up. And don't ever throw your hands up in the air.
Personal foul is the call, and it's getting marched off against Central High School. This is going to give Sunnyside their best field position of the night. They will start this possession at the 24-yard line. 3 receivers to the top of your screen, 1 to the near side, and that 1 to the near side is the 6'6" sophomore, Jamari Jenkins. That's the kind of size you like in a fade route. Donovan Kong calling the signals out of the pistol offense. The give goes to Kong Vang down to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, you like a matchup like that. You know, Proby, your corner for Central, is only 5'11", and you like to have a matchup for 5 or 6 inches like that on a fade.
Absolutely.
But you got to give your quarterback time to throw the fade too.
2nd down and 6 at the 20. There's the fade. Intercepted in the end zone.
That was Proby.
Actually overthrew Jamari Jenkins, and it was picked off in the end zone. Silas Proby, the 5'11" junior, with the interception against the 6'6" Jenkins.
So let's see this again.
Proby with the pick in the end zone.
And Proby had a little bit of help on the inside from Brewer too. If it was going to be thrown, if it wasn't going to be overthrown, Brewer probably would have had a chance to knock it down.
So with 4 minutes and 33 seconds until the halftime break, Central High School regains possession, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Tompkins pulls it in, takes off, and is driven back for a big loss.
Fumbled the ball. They didn't recover it, but it was coughed up.
That was Dominic Padilla, who managed to fall on that loose football as Central High retains possession. Tompkins flushed, but then has second thoughts. Well, that's Carl Hawkins who drives him back to the 9. Ball comes loose, but it looked like it was really after.
Yeah, they called him down.
2nd and 21 to the 9-yard line.
Now, Dan, there are people that would say, look, Central's already up 35-0. They're not going to lose this football game. Why do you still have your stud players in? Well, last week they took them out against Bullard well into the game. You want these guys to have reps. You know, when you have Liberty and De La Salle coming up, you want these guys to have reps. And I'm not advocating running the score up, but
that was Bigelow who got to the 2nd level, brought down by the linebackers, and he comes out.
And the Wildcats are showing a little bit of spunk on this defensive stand.
Absolutely, brings up a 4th and 12. Taking a look at that is indeed Sunnyside pursued very, very well and managed to stop that play far short. 4th and 12, ball at the 18 as the Grizzlies punt it away. Bring on Heights. Crosses the 40, and we've got penalty flags down.
I think we may have 2 penalties on this. I think we're going to have a late hit on Central, but we may have had an illegal block too.
Grand Heights had a little bit of trouble handling that punt, but gathered it back in, and off he went. .224 to play here in the first half. 35-0 Central over Sunnyside.
This can be a little bit of extracurricular activity on the Grizzlies. This is going to cost them 15 yards and give the Wildcats field position again. Maybe they can put some points on.
Well, you saw Coach Woods with some instruction for Jamari Jenkins. Would indicate that they have certainly not lost any confidence in the young sophomore after that last drive, in which the fade route to him in the corner of the end zone was intercepted. And Coach Woods a good one to be able to give receivers some tutoring. He was a terrific tight end at the University of Wyoming. Had a brief cup of coffee with the Miami Dolphins. His mishap there on the snap, the give to Hong Vang, and he pays the price for that fumbled exchange, as that permits the linebackers time to join the defensive lineman in the pursuit and stuff that for a loss.
Well, Coach Woods was a very successful coach at Helix High School down in San Diego, and then he moved up to administration where he was a school principal, but he couldn't keep fighting the itch to get back on the sidelines.
Had the great teams down there with Reggie Bush and Alex Smith at Helix High School. Donovan Kong flushed from the pocket, knocked out of bounds, and looks like he's lost a yard or two.
And he took a hit on that.
He sure did.
Number 33 on the for Central, Chris Bohanna came up with a, looked like he may have gotten a stinger right in front of us here.
Officials call timeout. 1:42 remaining in the half. 35-0 Central High School. We pause for an injury timeout on the near sideline. Trainers tending to the Central High School player. Indeed, Coach Woods has a terrific coaching resume. Good guy, fun to talk football with. I know you certainly have a fun time talking Wyoming football with him.
Well, he was playing there at the heyday of Wyoming football when they had a pinnacle of success with Paul Roach. He got up to number 5 in the nation at one point before remembering that they in fact were Wyoming.
A lot of people in our valley will be following Wyoming football this fall for good reason.
Oh yeah, Josh Allen. Yeah, he gave us a lot of excitement last year. They played some super exciting football games. If he can cut down on the interceptions and Wyoming can firm up the defense a little bit, they might make a run at the Mountain West Championship.
And he could be one of the high picks in the NFL draft next spring. An outstanding talent.
There was even some waves of him coming out after last year, and I'm glad he stuck around for one more season.
I would agree. I think there are a lot of factors that persuade players to come out, but I think sometimes when you really take a look at the big picture, and quarterback can never get enough reps. They can never prepare. They can never get enough of those plays under fire before they get into professional football to have them prepared well for professional football. And I think it was a good call for him to come back for his final season there at Wyoming.
Oh, I totally agree.
3rd and 13, and Kong airs it out for the end zone, and it is picked off again, but no. Out of the end zone, incomplete. So with 1:34 left in the half, that will bring up 4th down. As that ball was overthrown in the back of the end zone. Looked as though the Central DB was able to come down with it, as we see on the replay here, but the ball went far beyond the end zone, and the Defensive player unable. That was Jaden Williams. Unable to keep his feet in bounds.
Well, and we had
Looks like a hold there,
yeah,
Fred?
had a holding penalty on the Wildcats. So I thought this was going to bring up a dilemma for Sunnyside. Well, they were in that position before. They would have no choice but to go for it.
True.
And now they at least have 2 more opportunities. Even if they got it down to about the 20-yard line, I don't think they have a real strong kicking game this year. And I say, hey, get points on the board if you can, but to me, a field goal is a real crapshoot.
3rd down, 22 to go. Kong pulls it back. Now he's got to evade a pass rush. Flips it just to get rid of it out of bounds, well over the head of Johnny De La Cruz, his wide receiver.
Yeah, the Central coaching staff up here in the box to our right is clamoring that Sunnyside had 12 men on the field.
Oh.
And there is a flag down right now too, so.
Well, they did run a substitute on late, and I don't recall, I think it was Van Kong, the running back, that sprinted on there just before the snap, and I don't recall seeing anybody come off.
Nope. Yeah, illegal participation, and Central's declining the penalty. They got it. They got their attention.
So Johnny De La Cruz to punt for Sunnyside, and now the officials call timeout before the ball is snapped. A minute 26 remaining in the half. Central High sits on top of this one, 35-0 over Sunnyside.
Well, Central took the time out on this one, Dan. I think they may have saw something that may have indicated this was going to be a fake punt.
6 quarters of play thus far for the Grizzlies. They have yet to be scored upon in the 2017 season. A week ago scored 44, and their defense posted the shutout. Tonight they have scored 35 in the first half, and their defense is posting a shutout thus far.
Well, when they have to play Liberty, and now last year they handled Liberty 38-0 early in the season. Liberty is a strong physical football team, coached by Brian Nixon, who had a lot of success at Centennial before going over to Liberty, and they beat Clovis West last week 31-30, and I think they will test the Grizzlies.
Johnny De La Cruz, and he is indeed going to throw it, and it's going to drop well incomplete.
Now they're calling pass interference, which is only 15 yards in this case, but I don't think that was a good call. It looked like he tripped over his feet.
Tyrell Grayson, I should say, called for the interference. They needed 15. They needed 22. This would give them 15. So Central would take over. Although, no, that is the Sunnyside offense coming back out onto the field.
Yes, so it's still a 4th down play.
I got you.
Now, they gave him more than 15 yards on this. They actually gave them a spot penalty on this, which
puts it at the 21-yard line.
Yeah.
4th and 5 now from the 21-yard line. Kong throwing, overthrowing.
Yeah, we have some supervisors for the officiating crew here tonight in attendance, Dan, and I'm going to ask them about that penalty, because that was a spot penalty they gave him. We have 15 yards in high school. That one, along with the mercy rule, I'm going to get some clarification, I hope.
Donovan Kong trying to complete a first down pass here, but well overthrows his wide receiver, and that's going to give the ball back to Central High School with a minute 16 until halftime. Grizzlies on top 35-0 as They start this possession on the 21-yard line, their own 21-yard line. Tompkins under pressure. Gets away. Flips it to his receiver, and that's Jacob Torres, but he tosses it over his head, incomplete, out of bounds.
Well, Tompkins knew a little bit of heat was on. He was just getting rid of the football.
Bigelow on the bench. He has already scored 2 of the 5 Central High School touchdowns. DeAndre Brewer, the 6'1", 195-pound senior in the backfield behind Trent Tompkins. A little bit of play action, pass deflected, and it lands incomplete.
Well,
brings up a 3rd and 10.
Finding the first down on this play, Sunnyside could get the ball again. Well, the first half really hasn't went as long as it seems. It's only 8:37. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
1:05 to play in the half. Tompkins tucks it over the middle, has his man close to the first down. Avery Boyd, the receiver on that one. Let's see where they spot it. And the chain gang is moving as if it is indeed a first down. Ball spotted at the 32-yard line. Tompkins brings him right up to the line of scrimmage. 56 seconds and counting. The quick hitter receiver not ready for it. That was Jacob Torres. Not on the same page with his quarterback there as the ball sails incomplete.
Yeah, they were a couple of seconds off of their timing on that one.
46 seconds remain. Ball on the 32-yard line. Tompkins rolls near side. Pass is incomplete. Terrific coverage on the play by Deshaun Ruffin, the Fresno State commit. As we're going to take one more look at this, Fred. See, it's always a tough throw for a quarterback coming to his weak side, having to reach back. Accuracy always an issue on a play like that.
And Tompkins does not lack self-confidence.
Not at all. Not at all. 3rd and 10 from the 32-yard line. 39 seconds to play in the half. Tompkins.
Oh.
Ball is dropped by David Brown. And on comes the punt unit to send the ball back Sunnyside's way. Probably one last time here in the first half. 35 seconds to play. 35 points on the board for the Grizzlies, and nothing on the board yet for Sunnyside High School.
Well, Central, Dan, their sharp edge is kind of wearing off a little bit too. They're starting to look a little bit sloppy, not quite as crisp now, and a 35-point lead will do that to you.
And they've taken a few more of the backups and giving them reps. And the ball's going to roll dead at the 37-yard line. So with 24 seconds remaining in the half, Sunnyside takes possession, 1st and 10, trailing 35-0.
There seems to be a little bit of confusion here with Sunnyside.
Central back in a prevent defense. They know more than likely Sunnyside's going to air it out, but no. The give goes to Van Kong, and he pushes it out across the 45-yard line.
Moves the chain, stop the clock for just a moment.
As we take another look at this, Van Kong. Nice gap off right tackle. But this time, a whole different set of circumstances as he's got number 10, Trey Walker, waiting for him.
That'll be the end of the half, Dan, mercifully for the Wildcats.
And that's going to wrap up our first half of play as we take one last look at that. Look at Trey Hawkins once again. Just shirks the block, Trey Walker, I should say, shirks the block right there to bring down the ball carrier. What a way to wrap up the first half of play here at Sunnyside Stadium. Our score, Central High School 35, Sunnyside High School nothing. A lot of football still to be played here at Sunnyside Stadium, so don't go away. So Fred, our first half of play, largely all Central. We saw some big plays, we saw some good drives. What were your thoughts thus far?
Well, the Wildcats came out. They came out to play football. They looked fired up in the first 3 defensive stands they made. They were somewhat successful. They even moved the ball a little bit. But then once Central scored, you could just see a little bit of the fire go out on the Wildcats. And when Bigelow made his initial touchdown and nobody laid an arm on him, it was like they were just sticking it out. They appeared to be done right then.
Well, you saw Bigelow, the UNLV, received a scholarship offer, and another guy that a lot of D1 schools are looking at here in the Central Valley. Very impressive, 2 touchdowns thus far in the first half. Really untouched on many of his runs, but maybe the most impressive player of the first half, you would think, with a team that scored 35 points on the board, we would say somebody on the offensive side, but I don't think so. I think a guy that you clued us into at the beginning of the night, the linebacker Trey Walker, has a lot to do with that big goose egg sitting on the Sunnyside High half of the scoreboard.
And it is amazing, a young man like that with so much talent. He wasn't a surprise. Sunnyside saw the game films from the throttling of Bullard. They knew what to expect, and you double, you triple team him, he finds ways to make tackles. He's just that dominating of a player. Again, it's been a good 10 years since I've seen anybody that just dominates a game like he does.
So our score here at Sunnyside High School Stadium, the Central High Grizzlies sitting on top 35-0 over the Sunnyside High Wildcats. Much more football still to come. Glad you're with us here on CBAC Sports.
In the Agri-Science and Technology pathway, each year, students are cohorted with 3 teachers. One is an ag emphasis and 2 are general ed teachers. So in freshman year, they take the Agri-Science class. Sophomore year, they do a soil chemistry class. And then by the time they get to junior and senior year, they have the choice of going into more environmental science or plant science, or they can go into the agricultural mechanics.
We've been taught how to work together, did a lot of mechanical work, a lot of woodworking, some welding.
The cool thing I've been learning at Pathway is mainly testing the soil.
I learned how to use a handsaw. We learned how to weld.
See whether it has like a good pH, the soil is good or not.
With our linked learning teams, our teachers actually work together and they create cross-curricular projects. This is project-based learning, and the students are exposed to more relevant and real-world learning.
Learning how to plant and grow different types of plants and how they grow and the environment they need to be in for them to grow.
We worked on cutting metal with different kinds of ways. There's a torch and then plasma cutting.
We did a project called Biodome, and it was where we plant our plants in a 2-liter bottle.
I learned how to plant them in the bottle and how they can survive.
The name of this class is Advanced Interdisciplinary Science for Sustainable Agriculture,
where we learned how to determine the GMOs on certain type of crop.
I've learned how to research data and put together a lab, actually produce a lab on our own.
My first year, like Mr. Sue, Mr. McGarry, Ms. Adams, they're all like cool. I love all my teachers. They are pretty much family to me. I have to see them every day. They have to see me every day, right? So get to know them, get a relationship, and it just becomes a relationship, not even trying to be one.
You're around the same people and you're in the same classes, so you get to know one another. and if you need help with the project, then you can always come to them.
We go along the years, the same people, get to build with each other, and we just get along. It's a family.
We have a lot of the same teachers, so we get to build more relationships with the students and the teachers and get closer and get to know them better.
There's a lot of socializing and you can help each other out, and it's more comfortable when you know each other to do your projects and work.
You get help and anything you're stuck on also without having to be like really shy about things. Yeah.
I really like the teaching staff because they really help you out.
Well, I love this committee. I love my students and my peers.
We went on a lot of field trips and we visited a lot of ag companies. We went to the Ag Expo just last week, and it was really fun. We got to see so many different booths, learn about different companies, drones, like everything. It was really fun.
We get to meet with farmers and other businessmen across the world.
One of our overarching goals in the agri-science pathway is that students get exposed to all the careers that are available in ag. So a lot of them have never been exposed to ag, so our hope is that once they see what's out there, they'll consider it as an option.
I plan to go to Fresno State, and especially the agricultural program over.
After my graduation, I plan to do a major in veterinarian.
Future plans, since I learned how to weld, I want to go to Fresno City welding.
I've thought about being in the animal health science or the agricultural engineering.
After graduation, I plan on going to Stanford or UCLA or any Ivy League that accepts me, really.
Homeroom is foundational to Sunnyside High School. We understand the importance of relationships in learning, and with our homeroom program being as unique as it is, we're the only high school in Fresno that has a homeroom program. What we are saying is that we understand that relationships are important, that they need to be long-standing, and that every student needs to belong to something. And with homeroom, we know every student, if they're not involved in a sport or a club, they're all in a homeroom, so it's foundational.
The benefits of homeroom is that the students will stay with that one teacher over the next 4 years while they're here at Sunnyside. They will get to know the students in their classroom and get to know the teacher, so that they have that one place that they can go to that can be kind of like their home. You can build a sense of community, a sense of family within the classroom, and connect with not only the students in the classroom, but have that connection with a staff member on our campus.
So our homerooms, the activities vary. For one, we have a very solid anti-bullying program in homeroom. That's students participate in activities every other meeting. And then in the in-between meetings, we take care of a lot of school business. That's where we do surveys and get parent information out. We also enjoy our weekly video broadcast from the Video Production Academy. That now has turned into quite a wonderful production that our whole student body gets to see, and it informs everybody on campus about what's happening for the week through that video broadcast. So that's what we do in homeroom. One of the largest benefits we see is that long-standing relationship with a positive role model adult on our campus that all of our students are experiencing. Not only that, but from an adult perspective, gives our teachers a chance to really get to know some students over 4 years that they may otherwise not have had that long-standing relationship with. And quite frankly, I think homeroom is what makes the Wildcat family because of those long-standing relationships.
The Teachers Academy is a Fresno Unified School District program that's offered at several of the high schools, and it is basically helping students, high school students, become prepared for a career in the field of education.
This academy really does help you if you want to be a teacher in the future, or if you're thinking about it, because you're getting a lot of experience. Like, I didn't know a lot of things, but now that I've been in the classroom more, I know what goes behind the scenes of being a teacher.
Students their junior year would take child development, and that's where we learn basics about how the growth and development of children, infants, toddlers, and school age. And then their senior year, they will take careers in education, which is a course that we actually do field site visits and work at a field site where they gain classroom experience working with school-age children.
Things that I've done with my students have been things like I've prepared 2 bulletin boards, and that's like decoration for the classroom, inside or outside. And also reading to them, I sometimes get the whole class as a group or smaller groups, like students that need the most help.
The Careers in Education course is a work-based course. So students will become a part of an elementary classroom. They'll become a viable member, contributing in many ways.
What I do in the classroom is that I grade tests, I grade homeworks, and I file both of the tests and homeworks. Also, what I do is I assist in recess, and after the recess, I usually take a small group, generally between 4 or 5 students. I take them out to the commons area, which I will help them with English or math.
During the year, we develop specific job skills that will be beneficial in a classroom, and upon graduation, if they meet the requirements, they will be able to apply for and receive jobs as paraprofessionals within the Fresno Unified School District.
The relationship I have with these students here at AIR is that I have more of a student-teacher relationship, which I go one-on-one with them. I tell them what they need to do, what they should do, and hopefully I become a role model to the students.
Well, to get involved in the Teachers Academy, you can either talk to your counselor, or you can come to my room S118 and come and ask me some questions, and we'll try to connect you in the right places, because we really want students that have a passion to work with young children, and so we welcome you.
My role is to staff the after-school program with numerous types of clubs. The program's been on campus, I believe, since the inception of the school, which was in 1999. The program takes place in numerous places on campus. The main point is the library, where there's a tutorial every day after school. It's in the weight room, the wrestling room, cafeteria. There's also a super snack offered at 3:30 every single day. It's created just to give kids that don't participate in sports or anything offered after school through the actual school just more opportunities.
I go to after school program and do homework, and I hang out with my friends and play League usually.
Yeah, I do a lot of my homework here. It's a lot of fun too sometimes.
I like to come in, hang out with my friends, do my homework. Everybody can come in here and just, unwind from the school day, get rid of all their problems, play on the computer and all.
It just gives them an opportunity to do things otherwise they wouldn't be able to. It gives them, helps them just develop interest in other things outside of school. So, take example, Zumba is a really cool class that kids can just do and have fun.
I find it a fun place to go to hang out with my friends, because I usually do nothing after school, and going to after school program is like I'm actually doing something that that would help me.
I like it the way it is, and I hope it never goes away.
Avid is basically a program that stands for Advancement via Individual Determination,
and it's a program to try to get students that are willing and participating to achieve a higher level of understanding and academic skills so that we can get them into a college.
In Avid classes, students bond and collaborate to learn the habits and skills necessary for success in college and beyond.
I don't feel alone with these guys, and I'm happy to say they're part of my family.
Avid students are required to take Cornell notes for all of their classes and maintain an organized binder. They take challenging classes and they get help from each other and from college tutors during the Avid class.
I'm in Avid because I heard it looked good on my college applications. However, after being in Avid for 5 years, I've altered my perspective. Avid becomes your family.
Sunnyside High School is a national demonstration Avid program. That means our school is one of the most outstanding in the country.
I've matured and grown with my fellow Avid students. It is a wonderful feeling knowing that there is a group of people who you can go to who are on the same academic journey.
Being an Avid helped me realize that siblings are found where you have care.
100% of our Avid students meet the requirements to go to university right after high school. Being an Avid takes commitment. You have to be committed to your personal and academic goals. You have to be committed to yourself and to your Avid family, and to push yourself to your limits. I encourage you to apply.
Hi, wow. Miss Hicks, and I'm the captain.
Fresno, where the Central High School Grizzlies on top 35-0 over the host Sunnyside High Wildcats. And big first half, first quarter actually was pretty much defensive. The two teams feeling each other out, and some big plays on the defensive side for the Central High School Grizzlies. But once the offense of the Grizzlies got going, boy, the complexion of this game changed very quickly, and the guy that did it was Javon Bigelow, the big running back.
Well, Central's running game, they have Bigelow. Trent Tompkins is such a weapon, mature far beyond his years, and their offensive line just took over the game.
A week ago, Central High School scored 44 against Bullard High, shut out the Knights, and here we are, 35 more points for both the offense and the defense. It was actually the defense, and Trey Hawkins, their outstanding middle linebacker, with the interception that got the scoring going before Bigelow scored the first of his two. And two teams on their sidelines, as you see here in Sunnyside Stadium. Officials at midfield, about 40 seconds until we're going to kick off the second half. Let's take a look right at those first half highlights now as they roll the tape out in the truck. And here's your guy, number 10, Trey Hawkins, the middle linebacker. Out of that cluster, comes away with a pick and takes it all the way back. He is impressive.
Oh, that Walker, he is such a man-child.
I keep calling him Hawkins. I apologize. Trey Walker, yes, you're right. He's all over the field. Terrific pursuit defender there in the middle linebacker spot, and not too shabby when he runs with the football. That puts Central High on top 7-0. And here is Javon Bigelow, a recipient of college scholarship offers. He's being recruited left and right, and he is a load to try and bring down, and nobody even got a glove on him here. Untouched all the way into the end zone to cap that drive, giving Central High a 14-0 lead. Very impressive runner, as he has given Sunnyside's defense plenty of headaches so far on the night. Pursuing. Tompkins with the pass. Terrific catch on that play, as his receiver, David Brown, had to reach behind him to come away with that and put that inside the red zone. And then Tompkins on the fade route. And a little bit of question on the Wildcat sideline whether or not he got in, but the official right there on top of it, and Avery Boyd with the third score of the night, 21-0. And now we're ready to go with the start of the second half. Sunnyside trying to play catch up, trying to come back from a 5-touchdown deficit. They're down 35-0. Short kick will be fielded at the 22-yard line. Wildcats pick up about 8 before the return man is absolutely smothered. And that's where we're going to get things going.
Well, Dan, I got a chance to talk to the Sunnyside principal, and he assured me to, stay vigilant, and Sunnyside was going to make a remarkable comeback in the second half.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if those words ring true. That will be a tremendous effort if they're able to come back. They lost a heartbreaker a week ago to Clovis North in their opener, 20-19. Had that first half lead of 19-0, and saw the Broncos come roaring back. Donovan Kang with a quick hitter. Johnny De La Cruz on the receiving end of that one.
Well, Dan, the Grizzlies still have the first team defense in. And I found out the 35-point running clock doesn't become official into the fourth quarter unless it's agreed upon by both coaches.
Gotcha. Well, Sunnyside, no doubt, is going to have that football in the air throughout much of this second half. Donovan Kang trying to get the offense moving. Going to the far side. Ball's going to be spotted at about the 37-yard line, maybe just shy of the 38. And we're looking at 3rd down and 7. Rayon Heights with the grab, and he's going to be about 2 yards shy of a first down. Sunnyside sends out the punting unit once again.
Well, Central, they were really stacking the center of the line. They were like daring Sunnyside to even try and run outside. And Sunnyside, hey, they're going for it. It's 4th and 2. I don't think so.
Give goes to Darius Morris.
Well, maybe.
And he's close on the second effort. Looked very, very close, and the signal is first down. So he just managed to get it over.
I applaud that.
Darius Morris picks up the 1.5 yards, 2 yards necessary to pick up the Sunnyside high first down. They start 1st and 10 at their own 42-yard line. Kang, open receiver. Marquet Williams crosses midfield, brought down to the 47.
Dan, I had a disappointment. I went to the production truck and I got these were assorted fruits. When I picked them up, I thought they were raisins. And they're fruit snacks. I mean, my grandsons will love them, but that doesn't do it for me.
Not your cup of tea.
No.
Donovan Kang airs it out down the near sideline, well overthrown. Marquet Williams, the intended receiver.
Yeah, Kong he's not had the time, and I think on that play he actually had the time, but he seemed surprised that he had the time.
They've been going with timing routes early and then decided to air it out there, and he had his receiver, didn't get enough air up under the football to get it to his man and well overthrew him. 2nd down and 10 at the 47. Kong to the far side. Nice grab. Rayon Heights hauls it in.
Only about a 3-yard gain on that at the most.
But this is where they're picking up the yardage.
Yep.
Just very quick little timing routes. Heights got to the 45, picked up 2. It's 3rd down and 8. Flushed from the pocket. Overthrows his man, his tight end. DeAndre Moorhead. Penalty flags on the field.
What did you see, Dan? I missed that completely.
I was watching the play coming to this side, and we've got a hold against the Wildcats.
And Kong was really trying to buy some time when he rolled out.
It's a 10-yard penalty spot of the
He had all kinds of people on.
Always tough rolling to the weak side. Trying to make that throw across the body an accurate one, and that's a challenge for any quarterback.
3rd and 18. They've been in this position a long time, many times.
Too many times tonight, no question. Kong has a man coming across the middle in the X route. McCover Sneed. He gets it down to the 42-yard line, but it's going to be well short of a first down.
But it does give them, an opportunity again here to go for it. About 8 yards to go.
This is where they're picking up the yards, though, just these real quick timing routes. Central High has given it to him, and once again, we've got a Sunnyside High School penalty. That's the tight end, DeAndre Moorhead, who jumps off.
At about a 4th and 11 now.
And the punting team is going to go on. Johnny De La Cruz, been a very busy guy thus far tonight. Not only doing his Aussie rules style punting on the run, but he's tucked it up once. Came very close to a first down, but just shy. Was not able to quite pull it off.
Oh, wow.
Jeremiah Hunter. Penalty flag down. Ball crosses the 35 to about the 37-yard line. I think Hunter confused himself. I think he may have thought that his knee was on the ground and that killed the play.
Yeah, I think so too. Now flags are down. I thought his knee had touched.
Well, he was waiting. I think he was waiting for a whistle and never heard it, and figured if they're not calling it down, I guess I better run.
Let's see it here. De La Cruz pulls it out of the air. Yeah.
The right knee definitely was down. He knew it, but he was waiting to hear a whistle, didn't hear one, and took off running.
That's going to cost him the penalty.
True. Trent Tompkins, the Central High School quarterback, very impressive throughout the first half. A week ago, he threw for 4 touchdowns in the big one over Bullard, ran for a 5th. Behind him, number 21, Javon Bigelow, the 6'2", 195-pound running back. He has scored twice tonight, untouched. His second touchdown covering 51 yards. Glad you're with us here on CMAX Sports. 8:15 to play in the third quarter as Central High sits on top 35-0 here at Sunnyside Stadium over the host Sunnyside High Wildcats. Whistles abound, penalty flags fly. Line judge brings it all to a stop.
Offside on Sunnyside. Again.
Looks like it's on. Oh, yes. He started to march it off against Central, which was a little puzzling.
Yeah, Dan, I haven't gotten any scores from any other games around the area tonight. Usually we have a bunch of scores coming in, and nothing tonight.
Trent Tompkins barking out the signals. And there's Javon Bigelow again. First down, picks up about 7 yards.
And Bigelow did a admirable job of just following his blocks. He just kind of danced around. First down yardage, and we have a down Wildcat.
That's Devon Jones, who is Brigham Heights, who is down. But take a look. Yes, you're absolutely right. He's excellent at following his blocks. Strong runner who can bull his way through defenders. Game of angles, and he plays the angles very, very well coming out of that Central High backfield.
Oh, and having a young man like that running, he's got the blasting power to run between the tackles and the explosiveness to take it all the way. Next week, Dan, we have, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. The Mendota Aztecs, who are always a competitive team, even though they got beat in the opener last week for the first time in many years, and they'll be visiting the resurgent Roosevelt Rough Riders. I think we should have a real good game next week.
Look forward to that one, Fred. That should be a good one. You see Natnoff Harris doing a nice job over there coaching those Rough Riders.
Yeah, they were very impressive last week. He seems to have really got a new attitude going there on Tulare Avenue.
Well, he took over late last season, challenging circumstances, and made the most of it. And it's a good learning year for a very young team, and they've learned their lessons well. They're off to a good start. Quick shot out to Jeremiah Hunter, the young receiver, crosses the 40-yard line. And another another Central High School first down. 7 minutes, 49 seconds to play here in the third quarter as Central's on top 35-0. Tompkins, Grayson, short of the 45.
Just a little sidelight, Dan, number 33, Sergio Muniz, a 5'9", 175-pound defensive lineman. He's playing off his blocks and making some penetration. Not on that play.
Tompkins lets fly. He's got a receiver open. Pass is incomplete down at the 26-yard line. Jacob Torres, the receiver. Johnny De La Cruz, the defender for Sunnyside High.
Well, Torres had to wait for the ball a little bit. That hung
He had
up
a step,
little
as
bit.
you see there.
Yeah.
You're right. He had to go up and wait just a tad for that ball to get to him, and that's always a play killer. 3rd and 4. Ball's on the 45-yard line. Tompkins with the fake,
nice
pulls
block,
it back
yeah.
in. Did he get the first down? He's close. Looks like they're going to give him the spot at midfield. And that would be indeed another Central High School first down. Grizzlies on top 35-0. 6 minutes, 59 seconds to play here in the third quarter at Sunnyside Stadium.
And a nice block there that gave Tompkins that,
Indeed.
extra jet to get the first down.
Our first high school football telecast of the season here on CMAX Sports. Glad you're with us and glad to have our crew together bringing this game to you as DeAndre Brewer spins off left tackle, crosses midfield to the 48-yard line.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are content now. They're not going to go into a full slow down ground game, but they are pounding the football a little bit more this half.
Just making the clock their friend. Their 12th man, I should say. Tompkins over the middle, has a wide open receiver, Jeremiah Hunter, who has been very impressive. The young 6'1", 165-pound sophomore.
And you could just see Tompkins cool on that. The ball, a bad snap, but rolled back to him, picked him up, made the throw on a timing route. Outstanding play by Tompkins.
Jeremiah Hunter to the 37-yard line where it's 1st and 10, Central High School. Grizzlies on top 35-0, marching toward more. Tompkins rolls out and lets fly. Knocked out of bounds, and we've got a late flag. Looks like a late hit.
Yeah, the Sunnyside sidelines and coaching staff doesn't look too happy, but I think we're going to have a late hit. Roughing it. Now.
So over the line of scrimmage.
Okay, yeah.
When Tompkins let that ball fly, he had crossed the line of scrimmage.
I missed that one.
We might want to take another look at that if that's possible, guys in the truck.
The line of scrimmage is just inside the 38. Well, we'll have to take their word for it.
Second down 10, ball now spotted at the 45-yard line of Sunnyside High School. 7 men in the box. Tompkins takes advantage, but his receiver not on the same page. Ball wings right by Jeremiah Hunter's left ear. Incomplete. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 18.
Yeah, okay, I wanted to see this weekend here. Okay. Oh, yeah, they were way off on that.
3rd and 18 from the 45-yard line of Sunnyside High School. Tompkins has his man. That's Jacob Torres off to the races. Can he elude this tackle? No, but he is brought down at the 10-yard line.
Jacob Torres plays a lot larger than his size would indicate.
Absolutely right. Tompkins studies the field, had his man in mind pretty much throughout this play. Torres shirks 3 tacklers and then finally gets ridden down rodeo style inside the 10-yard line. Ball's on the 10-yard line, 1st and 10. Central up 35-0 and marching for more. Toss into the end zone, just wide of Jeremiah Hunter, incomplete. 5:27 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, he tried to push that ahead. Boy, on Torres' catch, Dan, as soon as he caught the ball, squared those pads down, and he was not going to go down easy. The 3 guys had a shot at him.
Indeed. Little confusion on the defensive set there for Sunnyside High School. One came off, another not sure if he was to go on, so they have to burn a timeout.
Yeah, it looked like they had 10 men on the field when it happened. So probably a wise call.
5:27 here left in the 3rd quarter of play at Sunnyside Stadium, and Central High School. An impressive showing thus far tonight on both sides of the football as they sit on top 35-0 and have the ball 2nd down and 10 at the 10-yard line.
Dan, this has to be just a bitter disappointment now for Sunnyside, because I know they didn't want to have a game anything like the one last year. This is pretty much a carbon copy of it. And they had one of their best crowds here. They had a very live band, and the student section was full a half an hour before the game started. And they had a lot of fire, and it just went south about the end of the 1st quarter.
Well, this Central team very impressive. And they have scored 79 points thus far on the young season through 7 quarters of play, and they have yet to be scored upon. And they're marching with the ball 2nd and goal at the 10-yard line here in the 3rd quarter. 5:27 remaining in the quarter. Trent Tompkins, the junior quarterback. There's Torres down inside the 3.
What's impressive about Central is they just get everything going so fast. They're always going at top speed. Players going all over the place. That Torres, if he was 6'3" or 6'4", they would be pounding down his door.
No question. Every school in the country would be chasing him. Now they're in a power set. Ball goes to the back. That is Marcus Washington, who is brought down near the goal line.
I like that heavy wildcat full house formation on the goal line.
This Javon Bigelow coming in. No, we do have an injury there as Marcus Washington hobbles off. We see as he takes the snap on that last play. Oh, here we go, Bigelow once again. No. That is the terrific linebacker. That's Trey Walker.
2nd touchdown of the night.
He had a defensive touchdown and then comes in as a running back and punches it over for his 2nd touchdown of the night. So Trey Walker scores. And Central High School now has a 41-0 lead. So 2 scores for Trey Walker, 2 scores for Javon Bigelow.
And he's in the block on this extra point.
And with 4 minutes and 7 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, Central High School leads by a total score of 42-0. Sunnyside High School, a lot of heads down as the players come off the field back toward the bench area. Bit of frustration among that group of players, but you see Trey Walker, the linebacker.
And it's just a difficult position to be in when you're down like this. You know, the other team, they're beyond celebrating. They know they have the game won over there. It's just like, okay, let's stay healthy and put this one to bed.
Well, Trey Walker, very impressive as he punches it in for his second touchdown of the night. The first defensive touchdown, and he took an interception back in for the first score of the evening. And now here in the third quarter, he has come in as that big back, and the goal line set, punches it in, and we're looking at a 42-0 ball game. Little pooch kick is going to land in no man's land right in the heart of the Sunnyside return team, and ball comes loose, but I believe the ball carrier, the return man, was already down.
Well, maybe we could get a shot at that one again. The Central coaches are yelling about that, but I'm with you. I thought he was down on that one too. Yeah, here we go. Get to see this again. Oh, no, we don't.
So 1st and 10 from the Sunnyside 34, the Wildcats going with the timing routes again, and pass is overthrown to Margay Williams. Timing routes had worked well for them on their last drive. And it looks as though that's something they're going to work on here in the remaining moments of the third quarter. Central High on top 42-0. The Grizzlies have scored 86 points thus far this season through 7 quarters of play and have yet to give up a score at all.
Central has brought in a few apparent backups on defense now.
Trey Walker still in there as the middle linebacker.
You want the glue that holds everything together to stay in for a little bit longer.
Kong under pressure, gets rid of the football rather than take the sack.
I think they threw a flag down over there.
No, I think that's the center's towel.
Oh, okay. You're right. He's not going to be taken off with the flag.
And back out goes the punt unit once again for Sunnyside High School. 4th and 9 from the Sunnyside 36 as Central High will set up for the return. Jeremiah Hunter, who's had some impressive returns thus far tonight. And, of course, the interesting play where he teamed up with Silas Proby, and he was wrapped up as he quickly gathered up the punt and handed the ball off to Silas Proby, who picked up 17 yards and gave him terrific field position, and they began their drive from there. This is Hawkins. He's going to take off running, and he's got the first down before he is flung down across midfield.
Now that was a nice fake. He waited till the last minute. He still had the option to kick it away. He just wanted to see if he had a couple of seams.
Well, Fred, we talked about the Aussie rules style, and when he's back there, I don't know if the defenders could tell whether it was he or the normal punter, De La Cruz. And he rolled right as De La Cruz would have doing an Aussie rules punt, and then he doubled back, and he had plenty of running room and picks up some nice yardage down to the 47-yard line. Gang to his tight end. Moorhead. Penalty flag flies. So what's new?
We've seen a lot of hankies out there tonight.
Indeed. It's not even cold and flu season. 2:49 left on the clock here in the third quarter. 42-0 Central High over Sunnyside.
I didn't see an initial. Now we have it.
Personal foul.
He said make one big play, get about an 8-yard gain, and give it all back.
Very frustrating. Kong with a quick out. Sherwin King, the Fresno State Bulldog commit, takes it down to the Central High School 42-yard line.
Nice gain, got him back within, a decent range. Have, 2 plays to maybe get 6 yards to get a first down.
Brings up 2nd down and 4 for the Wildcats. I think at this point, Fred, they've got to be pleased. They found something they can do well with these timing routes, and they're trying to work it to perfection. And this is picked off, and this is going to be taken back all the way. Tyrell Grayson. Donovan Kong overthrowing his receiver, and it lands right into the arms of Tyrell Grayson for a 57-yard pick six, a 56-yard pick six, and that extends Central High School's lead to 48-0 here with 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
And Dan,
take another look at this on the replay.
He was just so all alone when he made that pick.
And you wonder if he just got rid of it a touch too quick. He had pressure coming from that left side, and rather than pump fake and let it go around him, he just lofted that football, and it landed right in the arms of Tyrell Grayson. And takes it all the way in for the 7th Central High School score of the night, 48-0 their lead. Extra point good for the 7th time for young Andrew Alvarez, and it's a 49-0 Central High School lead with 2 minutes left, Fred, here in the 3rd quarter of play from Sunnyside Stadium.
When Grayson picked that off, he didn't even have to run hard. There was nobody near him. I think one of us could have taken that one to the house.
Well, maybe you could have.
Would have been close. Stop for a break about halfway there.
Again, one of the things that we have talked about, Fred, is we'll take another look at this interception that is taken back for a touchdown. I don't know if the ball, I couldn't see if the ball was tipped or not, because Donovan Kong had defenders all in his face, had a defender leaping, and not sure if he managed to get a finger on that ball and alter the flight or not. Andrew Alvarez to kick off. He's only a sophomore. Doing a terrific job, so we're going to see a lot of him for the next 2 years to come for the Grizzlies.
A lot with many of his teammates.
Another short pooch kick up to about the 30-yard line.
Uh-oh. I think Central may have got that back.
I think you're right.
They did.
Manuel Oliver Davis comes out with a football. Central High School able to recover. I think one of the things as we look at such a lopsided score up on the scoreboard, but what we have to remember too is one of the philosophies that Sunnyside High has followed is to schedule a very challenging non-conference schedule in hopes that prepares them for that type of strong competition in the postseason. And they have been able to use that to their advantage the last few years, running through the North Yosemite League. Oh boy, here goes DeAndre Brewer, and he goes all the way.
Well,
no, it looks like it's going to be waved down at the 4-yard line. We'll just get a better look at that one to see he stepped out or.
Yeah, I'm confused by that. I didn't think he was that far. Okay, I guess I can see this now. Okay. And I guess he did touch some white line.
They've spotted the ball at the 2-yard line.
This is an amazing monitor. My gosh.
Brewer.
Touchdown.
Correction, Grayson, I believe that was. No, that was Brewer who takes the handoff and dances his way in for yet another Central High School touchdown.
Whoa. We just see the total despair of Sunnyside over here. And one of the things, Dan, that hurts Sunnyside is right now in the last 2 years, the last season anyway, they were far and above everyone else in the NYL. The NYL is such a weak league at this point. It just doesn't bode well for inner city
extra
football.
Point there is missed, and that would have been Central High School's 100th point of the young season in 7 quarters of play to none allowed.
I hope that doesn't make him mad.
So it's 55-0 Central High School with 1:41 to play here in the third quarter. And that means, according to the rules, by the time we're into the fourth quarter, we will have a running clock.
That should help keep the score down a little bit.
Sportsmanship rule that has been adopted by the Central California Interscholastic Federation for the last few years.
And you know, there's pros and cons on that. I like the rule because of what we're seeing right now. Looks like we may have had a penalty on Sunnyside here. They're re-kicking from half the distance.
So they get another opportunity at their 100th point of the season through 7 quarters of play. And this time it is good. So our score 56-0. You add that to the 44-0 final last week against Bullard. And Central High School has scored 100 points this season without giving up a single one.
Not a bad stat.
No, not at all.
Back to Sunnyside. Right now, Sunnyside can compete in the CMAC. They're not as strong as Bullard and Edison. They managed to beat San Joaquin Memorial last season. I think they would beat the two Madera schools, and they were hammered by Sanger in the playoffs last year. But the NYL, it's very weak, and I think they should do some a little bit better job of realignment. I think the realignment should probably take place at the end of one season and do it every season instead of waiting a couple of years like they do now. And I think this playoff should be seeded at the end of the season.
Another short kick. This is Deshaun Ruffin, the Fresno State recruit. Works his way over to the far sideline, brought down. Ball will be spotted at the Sunnyside High 31-yard line.
Wonder how Central would do against Incarnate Word.
Oh my goodness. Give you a better answer about this time tomorrow night.
Yeah.
First and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Sunnyside High Wildcats. Quick shot grabbed by Breon Heights. Good to see he's back in there. He hobbled off a little while ago.
Made a couple of nice little twists there that gave him positive yardage. Again, we have a couple of high schools. I think they're playing tonight. Mater Dei and Bishop Gorman of Las Vegas, and they're the number 1 and number 2 high schools in the country. And they're playing down in LA tonight. And you have schools like these two schools, Hoover and Alabama, De La Salle. These are very good. Well, they're not your
St. John Bosco down in Lakewood.
Yeah, they're playing Garza.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too fun of a game for the Rams.
Oh, my goodness. To the near side. First down. And that is Carl Hawkins, only a sophomore. And I know there was a lot of enthusiasm about him last year, waiting for him to ascend to the varsity level as a starter. His older brother, a very impressive player last year. He's over at Fresno City College now, and a lot of the folks around the Sunnyside program are really looking forward to the younger Hawkins. Felt there's tremendous athleticism and drive in that young man, and we just saw some impressive footwork on that last play.
Yeah, he's still playing football right now.
Yeah, penalty pushes that ball back. It's 2nd and 2 from the 27. Quick out, going to Sherwin King. Breaks free down the sideline. And he is hauled down by Achille Conley.
That got some excitement going here on the Sunnyside sidelines and up in the stands.
Great to hear the student section getting very enthused with 38 seconds to play here. But let's take another look at how this play evolved, because it looked like it was going to be a gain, but a short gain, but he managed to turn it up. Had a nice block. But look at Conley run him down from behind. Hawkins breaks free, crosses the goal line, and he's in. So Central High School's shutout streak ends 23 seconds prior to the conclusion of the third quarter.
And now the Sunnyside band can strike it up for the second time tonight.
There we go. Hawkins had a big hole, but he managed to elude 2 tackles and pull his way over for the touchdown.
Like that young man, just a younger version of his brother. And Sunnyside's going to burn a timeout. They generally go for 2 on their first touchdown.
So Sunnyside calls a timeout. Central High will scurry over to their sideline to huddle up with the coaching staff. And Central High is going to discuss further their plan on the PAT.
Okay, Dad, you want to know something that's totally ridiculous? You'll find it interesting. Most of the fans, the few fans listening at this stage, would find it utterly meaningless. The score is 56-6. When Fresno State, I believe it was 1965 or 1966, they played Montana State up at Bozeman, Montana. They lost 56-6 to Montana State, who was coached at that time by Jim Sweeney. And after that season, I believe, is when Sweeney went to Washington State. So for some reason, I can remember the score of a college game that happened almost 50 years ago, and I can't remember what I went to the store for. So go figure.
Donovan Kong will work out of the pistol here on the extra point attempt. They're going to go for 2 as they scurry in a couple of players to get the right set. And the give goes to Darius Morris, who is going to fall way, way short. And with 23 seconds left in the third quarter, Central High School sitting on top by a score of 56-6.
That Bulldog Montana score again.
Now you see the effort trying to punch it up the middle. It didn't work. Sunnyside now will kick off to Central as the Grizzlies, no doubt, are going to start working in some of the second teamers, and 23 seconds away from moving into the fourth quarter when we'll have a running clock. And the sportsmanship rule will take effect.
Well, let's see if we have a short squid kick here.
Well, we've seen a lot of that this far throughout the game.
Well, I like the squid kick when the ball is put oblong. And then I think it just makes things a little bit more exciting. Yep, there we go. See, now that was one of the onside kicks that is now legal. You can kick it onside as long as you don't have that big bounce.
Explain that a little bit, and what's the reasoning behind the new rule?
I think when you would have the big bounce, you have people coming up for the onside kick. You have all kinds of, real violent collisions where people are exposed.
The more of a safety factor involved.
That's the only thing I could come up with. But I've always thought those type of onside kicks are very effective because it's like a knuckleball in baseball. You don't know which direction it's going to go.
That's true. That's true. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. Central High School.
Uh-oh.
And here we go. Javon Bigelow, he has already scored twice, and he just punched it a good 20 yards.
And after the clock is rolling again, this
cross midfield to the Sunnyside High 45-yard line.
Should be the last play of the third quarter.
Countdown at 5. Will they get the snap off before we get there? 1 second left. They do get the snap off. And this is Silas Proby brought down after a gain of 2. And that's the end of the third quarter of play here from Sunnyside Stadium with your score, Central High School 56, and our host, the Sunnyside High Grizzlies, 6.
Not going to have to move too far from the 44-yard line.
So, Fred, on the central sideline, I would assume you're just looking for teaching moments, opportunities to work on some things, such as what we've seen with some of these timing routes, where they've been able to get some quick completions and some short yardage plays, and do what you can just to build some confidence and build some mini successes.
I think so too. You know, just small victories right now. Sunnyside did score a touchdown, and just keep doing what you're doing. Build on it a little bit, and this is going to be a fragile team at the end of the night. And the coaching staff, like they did last year, has got to get these guys built up again. And they come back, they beat Mount Whitney next week, and they certainly should do that. And that should get them on a positive roll again.
Second down 10 from the Sunnyside 44-yard line. There's Bigelow. Brought down to the 42.
Sunnyside is a D2 school, but games
Bigelow
like...
slow to get up.
Right. Yeah, this is the risk you take when you keep your starting players in when you're ahead by 50 points.
See if we can tell. Just flung down and landed pretty hard.
Yeah.
But Javon Bigelow has been a very impressive player thus far tonight. 51-yard touchdown gallop and another of more than 20 yards in the first half. Young man that a lot of universities are eyeing in the recruiting battles.
Well, his legs are straightened out there. That's a pretty good sign. I think he may have the wind knocked out of him. We'll find out here in a minute. Let's see it one more time. Better angle.
Yeah, gentle. Landed hard on that left shoulder.
Yeah.
Kyle Biggs out there talking to his running back.
Yeah, he seems to be going off on his own power okay now.
A little gingerly, though, holding that left arm, which he landed on. So brings up third down and 8 from the Sunnyside 43-yard line for the Central High School Grizzlies. Quarterback and center getting on the same page on the snap count. Trent Tompkins still operating out of the pistol. Here in the fourth quarter. Correction, that's Stephen McDivitt now in at quarterback. We'll begin to see some
we had flags.
Changes in lineups.
We had a flag thrown in the area that would usually indicate holding.
Brewer spinning his way for a couple of yards there before being brought down.
That'll cost the Grizzlies 10. Still third down, now 17 yards to go.
So Stephen McDivitt in at quarterback. Beatrice Brewer, the running back behind him. Give goes to Brewer straight up the middle. Gets across midfield to the 49 of Sunnyside High School.
Yes, Dan, games like this, I was gonna go off on this tangent before Bigelow went down. Even though Sunnyside's a D2 school, a loss of this magnitude when they're sitting for the playoffs really does hurt you when you're trying to get a home field advantage.
Manages to get the punt away. The snap was muffed, and Andrew Alvarez mishandling that football, but managed to gather it up and get that ball booted out of harm's way.
Yeah, for how that started out, that
looked like it had disaster written all over it.
Yeah, not a terrible punt under the circumstances.
So Sunnyside High will take over, and they will begin possession at the 24-yard line, 25-yard line.
Do we still have Kong coming? Yep, Kong still staying in.
Mark Williams looking at DeAndre Moorhead. So, yeah, still running a lot of their starters out there. Carl Hawkins, the young sophomore, who punched it over for their first score on their last possession.
Whoops.
His pass complete. But Bring On Heights is driven back to negate any gain that reception may have picked up. Clock running, it's at 9:30 here in the fourth quarter.
And Central has, again, most of their subs now at your linebacker and DBs. I heard last night Central's JV won here 41-0. So their program is on fire.
Pass through the hands of Marquez Williams. Incomplete. That brings up 3rd down and 10. .8:42 remaining in the ball game. Kong right through the arms of Marquez Williams once again.
Yeah,
and Sunnyside's going to be punting the football away.
Yeah, that pass looks spot on. I thought and it just, right through his hands. Looks like they got Hawkins coming in to punt again.
I was going to say, and we all know what happened the last time that he was in that formation. Have the Wildcats flipped to the Go for Broke chapter in the playbook?
Nope, not yet. Decent bounce.
And it rolls to a stop at the 33-yard line.
Good punt with the roll.
So Central High School gets the football back, leading 56-6 with 7 minutes and 33 seconds to play here at Sunnyside Stadium. Week 2 of the high school football season, but glad you're with us for our first week of CMAC Sports High School football. We'll be with you for 10 weeks this year, taking you through an exciting Central Valley High School football season. As always, you're going to see some outstanding young players, some determined young players, and a lot of young players who are just enjoying the thrill of a lifetime being part of high school sports here in Central California. Stephen McDivitt, the backup, handling the signal calling now for Central High School. That's DeAndre Brewer. Still churning up the yards.
This one, I believe, is going to be coming back, and I'm guessing it's going to be another holding penalty.
Oh, my goodness.
Both teams just inadvertently working down that clock.
Line judge having a conversation with a couple of the Central High interior linemen, and I think he's trying to explain to them what they were doing. It was away from the camera lens there, so we didn't exactly see it. But what we did see was a pretty impressive run by DeAndre Brewer.
You know, you have holding on virtually every play.
That's true.
But when you're extended and jerseys start to stretch, that's kind of a giveaway.
Well, the other side of it too, Fred, I think that if it impacts the outcome of the play, I think that's where the flag needs to be thrown. If it's inconsequential and it's well away from the play and it's just players not using all their brain cells, I think sometimes it gets to be affecting the entertainment value of the game to have flags thrown in those cases.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly.
Second down, 19. Ball at the Central High School 26-yard line to Stephen McDivitt. Flanked by DeAndre Brewer in the backfield. McDivitt flings it out. Polly Conley with a football brought down at about the 31, 32-yard line.
Well, I thought Central would be bringing the punting team in. Maybe they're going to do it at the last minute. Oh, third down. Okay. Yeah, the holding.
Third and 19.
Yeah, I had one get away from me there with that penalty.
Now third down and 7. Pick up on that last play of 12 yards. And it looks as though Sunnyside's handing him another 5. Well, the score on the scoreboard has not dampened the enthusiasm of the cheer squad here at Sunnyside High School.
Well, they've got to be bouncing around smiling no matter the score.
And that score is, as you see at the top of your screen, 56-6, Central High leading Sunnyside with 4 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the ball game.
And Sunnyside jumps offside again, Dan. So instead of a 3rd and 12, we have a 3rd and 2. Uh-oh.
Leatre Brewer, he's got a first down and then some, hauled down at the 40-yard line. Take another look at this as he takes the handoff. And he's able to get into the second tier very, very easily. Spins away from 1-2 tacklers before he is really punched down by the Sunnyside defender. Brewer wrapped up very quickly on that handoff.
Yeah, on the previous play, that's one of those films that the Sunnyside coaches, when they start breaking down that play, they won't be real happy with some of the tackling and effort that they saw.
Not at all, not at all. Second down and 9. McDevitt trying to draw them off sides there with a quick count. Give goes to Brewer, and that play is snuffed out very, very quickly.
McDevitt, I mean, if you're trying to draw him off on a long count, you know history's really on your side in this game. I'm guessing the Wildcats have been offside a minimum of 8 times.
Third down and 11, ball's on the Sunnyside High 43-yard line. Central High sitting on a 56-6 lead with 1:52 left of the ball game. Pass is complete. Picks up about 4 yards. That's Marcus Perez who hauls it in.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are not going to be punting the ball away at the 38-yard line and 1.5 minutes left on this running clock.
56-6 our score. 4th down and 6 yards to go. Stephen McDevitt out there calling the signals. Grizzlies running that clock down as we're down to about 1:10. And you may well just take a penalty here.
Oh, they're waiting for the time to run down, then take a timeout. I guess they're going to punt the ball away. And even though there's a timeout on the field, we still have a running clock going. No, it's been my opinion for a long time that in all games, even with an incomplete pass, stop the clock just in time to put the ball back in play, get the clock running again, except the last 2 minutes of each half. And football games would be over a lot quicker.
4th and 11 from the 43-yard line. The clock now with 15 seconds left to play. And one would assume that Central High School is just going to let the clock run out as the Sunnyside High Wildcats shake hands with the line judge, and they gather here at midfield to go across and have a post-game handshake with their rivals. And that runs out the clock and closes out the game with our final score here from Sunnyside Stadium. The Central High School Grizzlies improved to 2-0 on the season, racking up 56 points. Their defense impressive, holding the Sunnyside Wildcats to just 6. The Wildcats now in their 2 games yet to post a W thus far, Fred. And Central High School, we thought coming in they would be impressive on the offensive side. You were keen to watch their defense, and both were very, very entertaining to watch.
Well, with the one thing I like about Central, people thought that they were going to be a little bit down from the outstanding team they had last season. I saw none of that. Some of the young players have really stepped up. Their defense, to me, is better than it was last year. Trent Tompkins has got another year of experience. This is a very good football team. And
Indeed.
The next 2 games could be pivotal for them. Pivotal. I look for them to beat Liberty. I don't think they can go out to Concord and beat LaSalle, but you've got to give them a puncher's chance with what we saw tonight. And definitely a contender for the Valley Championship. Sunnyside, on the other hand, has got to be bitterly disappointed. They came into this season hoping that they could be 1-1 after these 2 games and being very competitive. Well, they were competitive last week. They let that get away from them. And tonight they were just utterly overmatched. They're not ready for prime time yet.
Well, the Wildcats will get Mount Whitney next week. Figures to be a competitive battle for them, one that they go into with a bit of optimism once they shirk off the results here tonight. And those results have concluded here at Sunnyside High School with the Central High Grizzlies jumping to 2-0 with a very impressive final score, a 56-6 win over the Sunnyside High Wildcats. Thanks for being with us here on CMAX Sports, and we hope you'll join us again next Friday night for another week of high school football, but we'll be back with much more after this.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Back here at Sunnyside Stadium in southeast Fresno, where the Central High Grizzlies have just advanced to 2-0 with a 56-6 win over the host Sunnyside High Wildcats. And out in midfield, we've got the Sunnyside team huddled up around their coaching staff. And no doubt what they're probably telling them, Fred, is this one's done. We're through here. Let's forget about this. Let's go back to work on Monday. And we've got to get ready for Mount Whitney High in a game that we feel we can prevail in next week.
Well, that, no doubt, and you've got to try and keep the young men focused. And the game tonight, this was a disaster, but you can't dwell on it. And they're still the team to beat in the NYL. If they can get a win, maybe against Memorial, which is going to be tough because Memorial's a very improved team over last season, and beat Mount Whitney, they're going to win the NYL. Roosevelt may make them sweat with what I saw last week, but for the most part, they're not really going to be challenged.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights from the second half of play. First half, of course, was a big 35-0 lead. Second half, Sunnyside came out, and they went to timing routes, real quick hitters, and started to have some success that way as Donovan Kong, their quarterback, picked up the yardage, but they just couldn't get it into the red zone and really turn any of that into scoring opportunities. There's a number of short routes pulled into some short and then medium gains, but just never really got him down into the red zone. Then you've got the big man, Don Bigelow, churning his way through the Sunnyside High defenders. And his backup, Deatre Brewer, the senior who goes both ways, very impressive as well. Perez he was tremendous. Took this one down to the 10-yard line and really put him at the door and knocking for another score. Perez then inside the 5, Fred, and boy, you had mentioned earlier, you put a few more inches on that guy and every school in the country's after him. They go to a bit of the Wildcat, and Marcus Washington punches it down. And then they bring in the middle linebacker, Trey Walker, your guy, and he comes in and darts in for the touchdown and extends that lead to 42-0.
Boy, right here, the Wildcats, they just look spent right now.
And they do look like they're a very, very fatigued and very frustrated team. Nothing they did seemed to be able to stop what Central High was doing. And at the same time, I think they know that, they're on different levels. These two teams, different divisions, and very, very different clubs. They're going in not necessarily different directions, but I think you'll see Sunnyside in the playoffs. And as we said throughout the game, they like the tough non-conference schedule to prepare them for the tough foes in the postseason.
Yeah, playing against teams like this, they really do. They're a good measuring stick of where you have to go if you want to be like that.
Absolutely.
And it takes a lot of work.
Sunnyside High making a change there at punter. Carl Hawkins, the young sophomore, a very athletic, talented individual coming in to do the punting chores, and he pulled it down and ran for a big first down. That set him up in position to potentially break that goose egg on the scoreboard. As Sherwin King, the Fresno State commit there, had a big gainer, but on the other side, you had Entre Brewer scampering his way down, but he was called down short of the end zone. And back and forth these two teams went, with Sunnyside resorting to the quick hitters. This on the short route turned into a big gain for them.
That play set up this touchdown.
And Carl Hawkins, who was very impressive in the second half. It's kind of quiet in the first half, but in the second half, he did some damage, and he manages to puncture that shutout, get the football in for Sunnyside's first score. They did not convert on the extra point, but from there, the rest of the night completely belonged to the Central High School Grizzlies. Here you've got the backups in, and that's Brewer once again churning his way through and dodging tacklers left and right, punching that ball across midfield. Yet again, Brewer, and as they kept the ball on the ground, kept the clock moving. And the final score here at Sunnyside Stadium, a resounding win for the Grizzlies, 56-6. So Central showing themselves to be maybe one of the dominant powers here in the Central Valley this season, and I think week in and week out we're going to be watching that just to see how well they continue to grow.
Yeah, the competition is stiff in the Tri-River. Clovis is going to have a good team. Buchanan's got a good team, Clovis West, so they will definitely be tested. But what I've seen tonight, they're going to be pretty hard to stop.
Indeed. Fun to watch as well. That's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you for joining us here on CMAX Sports, our first night of the high school football season. 9 more games to come. A big win tonight for the Central High School Grizzlies. Final score here, the Grizzlies defeating Sunnyside High by a final score of 56-6. Thanks to our crew for their great work, the folks on the cameras, everybody in the truck, the whole setup team. Thanks for a terrific job. We appreciate it all, and we appreciate all of you for joining us tonight for high school football here on CMAX Sports. We'll see you next week.